me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A quick adjustment on the agenda. We're going to start with number 3. I have number 3 on.
We took one of them off, I guess.
Request to honor Monantic Yacht Club Commodore Pete Bethke. We had a request, the town.
Yes, hi, good afternoon, everyone. I think most of the people here.
Your name for this.
Oh, I'm sorry, Robert Harris. I live in Silver Beach. I'm a member of the Monantic Yacht Club, and that's what this is basically about. Pete Bethke lived in Silver Beach for about 75 years. He's been a longtime Commodore, and we like to honor him by just putting some kind of plaque up on the Silver Beach, up North Silver Beach Town Landing, which we use for all of our kayaks. Sunfish most of the weekends. Just to honor Pete, if you guys would go along with it, we can make it any size you want. You know, it's not small, it won't be big, it won't be obtrusive. All the neighbors, well, most of the neighbors anyway, are for it, all the ones I talked to.
Could it look historic, like the one on, I'm thinking,
I took a picture of it. Christina's going to put up. We have one at Crescent Beach for Jack Roble. So we were hoping that you could do something like that.
Sure.
As opposed to a sign or something.
yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
We could, one of the members of our club owns a sign-making company.
Right.
So if you could get me a copy.
In other words, rather than a sign, because people are
plaque.
upset with signs, it's more of a plaque that, and it'd be more permanent. It would be there pretty much forever.
And how is that?
It's mounted right on the fence at Crescent Beach.
Okay, there are no fences.
We could put a post up.
A post up?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll put a post up. Fine, that's how we'll do it then.
So if you want to take a ride on Crescent Beach, and you'll see it, it's midway down the beach.
Fine,
Yeah, just take a look at it, Bob.
Oh, we will.
And Christina can send you a copy of that, what you just posted up there.
okay, great, that's what we'll do. That'll be.
Yeah, I think it's more appropriate than a sign. People really buck on big signage. But it's more reverent, it's more, it's more fitting.
Okay.
A small plaque like that, it really kind of honors him.
That's what
And it's
I'm doing.
permanent.
I like a 4x4.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Wonderful, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Do we have permission to print them, or do we have to wait for the actual board meeting?
I don't think we need a resolution or anything.
As long as you stick with something that's similar to that, doesn't have to be
I'll
exact.
show it to Jim before we do it.
That would be good.
All right, and I'll bring it in and share it
Just
with
to
my
show,
colleagues.
to show Brian Sherman.
Right.
Just to make sure, and maybe work with Brian where to actually put it,
Okay,
place it.
yes.
Okay, I'll give him
Okay.
a call.
Yep.
Thank
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Nice thought.
I would probably think a resolution would be good for posterity and like.
Oh, that's a good idea.
If somebody says, why is this here?
Right.
There's something in writing.
Okay,
Not a bad thought.
all right. Maybe we should wait till they get it and we can read what's on it into the resolution.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Okay, now we'll go back to number 1 on the agenda. Kate's here to give us an update on our oyster project.
And I do have a presentation. Wearing my our new sweater. I know, I like it. It's really cute. It's one of my new favorites. So yeah, update number 2. First one was early June. So our Spout on Shell Oyster Reef, the Shelter Island set tank at Dickerson Creek, that is wrapped up for the season. We did 2 rounds that totaled about 52 cubic feet of Spout on Shell. To make up volume difference, we had a larger set tank at our facility in Southold, Schmelk, Suffolk County Marine Education Learning Center, just to make up the difference, like I said. So we did 4 oyster reef plantings over the course of the summer. Our last one was just this past Saturday, and we planted 113 cubic feet of Spout on Shell, and we estimate that was about 567,000 oysters based on our counts and volumes and stuff like that. So the next steps are to get approval for the way I marked out the reef with PVC stakes, which I have a picture of. It was just an idea I kind of took from our eelgrass team. That's how they mark out the eelgrass plantings. Yeah, that doesn't. It's much deeper water, so you don't see the hole. So I just did longer PVC stakes. it was pretty low investment, so if people don't like it, then it's not that big of a deal to change. I'll do a final like survey, visual survey, hoping that maybe the next time I give an update to you guys, I'll be able to like get some video of going from the newest planting all the way to last year's pilot reef, just to really see the difference. And then possibly signage for the reef site, similar to what I did for the set tank maybe. And then just start planning for 2024. So next slides are some pictures. That one on the left is Sophie and myself and Kim, and that was at our first planting day, and I had actually just snorkeled a little bit on the pilot reef from last year and found that we have shuckable oysters already off just from last year's planting. So that's me holding up, of course my fingers are covering the shell that it had set on, but one like very large oyster, easily 3 inches, maybe 2.5.
That's the growth from last year.
Yeah. Not all of them are like that, you know, you're gonna have faster and slower growth, but I was like, I had to bring it up and show people, I was like, guys! So, and then on the other picture, that's actually just from a little oyster happy hour we did at Hampton Bays and Cowfish. The farthest to the right are the shells, like newest that I took out of the set tank, but it was before we broke it down. All those little specks are oysters, and then the greenish shells are from the other set tank. You can kind of see the round oysters, and then the other clump is I took off from our first planting. So back on July 11th, our first planting, so they grow so much just being out there in the harbor. And then that clump is from another clump I took off of the last year's reef. So you can kind of see the difference as they grow. Yeah, next one. So here's some pictures I took yesterday, Sunday. So you'll see, it's kind of hard to see like the light there, it's only 1 inch PVC. But you can kind of see the way I marked out. And so like that first farthest section that's like shorter is that last year's pilot planting. And then that larger section between the four, that's from this year. And you'll see the grid of what we planted that Saturday. So it's just like a day later and you can still see. I invite anyone who's curious to like snorkel themselves, you know, you can kind of check it out. Just try not to walk on them, but next slide. So bay scallops, it's upsetting. We had a late June sudden die off in our field grow out nets. Everything in Goose Creek, you know, everything was going fine. We were pulling the nets to transfer them to larger mesh. Everything was wonderful. Next day, we pulled more nets, the same group, mostly dead. And we're still not sure, you know, we were getting temperature spikes, you know, it was very hot at the very end of June and early July. We're looking into possible pH issues or if it's the parasite or who knows, we don't know. But the weird thing is that then one of my colleagues usually we would hand our scallops off to them and they take them out to the long lines in Orient. We hadn't even given any of our scallops yet from this year. They had been working with the scallops that they had been overwintering from the previous year. He said they had the same exact situation. One day everything's fine, the next day same group, a bunch of mortality. So we're currently performing a series of late season spawns. Last year there was a fall spawn trial study, experimenting with, you know, with that. There was a few articles written about that, and preliminary results do show that there is actually improved survival and resistance to the parasite from the fall spawn scallops that are now like basically adults now. So it might be that we need to fully shift to doing all fall spawns and if we keep having these issues with our traditional spawning schedule. But
What was the mortality rate of you know what the figure is?
like very high. The exact figure, no, but we had millions and now we have under 100,000.
Wow.
So you're talking,
It's very high.
97, 98%.
Yeah, I'm not going to say a figure if I don't know. So next slide. Oh, right, so next steps is like we're just gonna have to see. We're just gonna keep trying. You know, we made promises to you guys for this project and to Suffolk County for a separate project. Those are the ones that we need to meet. So we're gonna just keep trying.
Keep growing.
Yeah. So the scallops that have been surviving, they still look great. That's in the left picture in my hand. We are also, like I said in the previous slide, taking advantage of, let's just kind of experiment with different nursery grow out options. So we're going to use some of this burlap that kind of helps emulate eelgrass. And we're going to use these like spat collector mesh, just give those baby scallops just something extra to hold on to, so that maybe they're expending too much of their energy just to like stay there and hold on instead of growing. Who knows? So we're gonna just try everything. That's how we do it. Science. All right. So eelgrass. The Crab Creek temperature logger was retrieved in July. It's actually funny. One of the eelgrass team members, his girlfriend, has family that has a house down in Silver Beach, and they have a tradition of going to Crab Creek around 4th of July. So he was able to do his own private scuba session with like the kids in that family. And he said that while he was down there looking for the temperature logger, he saw a small clump of rooted eelgrass that looked healthy, and actually saw a few adult scallops down there. So it's a small space, but where that might be a nice like little test planting area, maybe create a little sanctuary in there, especially because, it's not like a dredge, kind of spot. It could just be a perfect sanctuary spot, not a lot of boat activity or anything. Gardner's Creek logger, I tried to get that, and it is a job for scuba diving, which I'm certified in, but have the gear. So we're gonna send the same guy over there at some point. He said it'd probably be the fall. But the next steps are the Habitat team is gonna explore West Neck Bay for planting areas for eelgrass on request of the Bayman. Also, Steve Schott, who's like the leader of the team, he had suspected that there might be like groundwater influences up in there, which is very promising for eelgrass. So he wants to get up there with his team. He was hoping for this week. I'm not sure if that's gonna work, just weather and stuff is all weird, but soon. So then once we just land on where we're gonna actually do these plantings, that fall test plantings, it's another good opportunity to involve volunteers. Okay, next. So you'll see West Neck Bay. So it doesn't really show that well on the screen. On the computer look better. To the left, that's the area where it's like some darkened splotches that he suspects might be eelgrass or whatever. So he's going to get in there. And then that little seahorse was found in a crab trap by one of my friends at the end of Daniel Lord, which, just for reference, to the very, very far on the edge of the map, that gray splotch, that's the boat link into Daniel Lord. So it's like, it suggests possibly that maybe they already do have habitat. Maybe there already is a little bit of eelgrass, enough for the seahorses to want to be up there. So it was just very exciting and promising. Anyway, all right, next. So yes, very cute. And he found 2, not even 1. He found 2. So hard clams are growing well. We have record-breaking number of clams this year. 12 barrels in the Manitowoc Creek Fluxies, and we could be doing more. We've been working on getting our individual oysters out for our town seeding program so we can make more space for all these clams. I don't know if anyone saw the August North Forker magazine, but working with the Calamity Janes, which is a group to try to get people out on the water and appreciate clamming and stuff, we were highlighted with them. Just like you see lots of pictures of my hand. It's like there's a picture of my hand, you see it. So next steps is just keep the maintenance going. Even though we have so many and they're growing so nicely, we still want to wait until October, November to seed, because the larger they are at seeding, the higher the chance of survival from predation. And then we're working on organizing a fundraiser seeding party, but that'll be likely in Southold. But just, all about like leveraging the funds, right? That's what we've been talking about, is through all this work here, I've been able to talk about it with other people. They're like, ooh. All right, next. So that's a barrel. It's just one of those, people repurpose them all the time, those blue plastic barrels with the different size mesh at the bottom. Here's my hand. You can see, I don't even know, we haven't sieved them and counted them in at least a couple weeks. You can see that the sizes are pretty all over the place, but no, we have like millions upon millions of clams and spiders. Right, next. Oh, and then there's my hand again. But yeah, it's me working with one of the calamities at our South Pole facility, showing her our baby clams. This was back actually in June, like not long after my first update to you guys, so they were much smaller then, but next. So the stewardship and outreach and education component, like I said, we've done 4 staff shell plantings, 2 in July, 2 in August. A bunch of volunteers, all different people coming from the community, and even a few from Rock Island coming over to help. We had that new signage put up at the set tank. I was asked to do oyster talk at Mashamik, and I'll be doing another one next month. And then I did a really lovely touch tank at the Sylvester Manor Farm stand during one of the CSA pickups earlier this month. And so next events, September 9th, we're doing the On the Water in the Field screening. So that annual video production that my colleagues do this year's is focusing primarily on our project here. We've done some interviews with people here on the island about it, and we're doing like a little reception and screening, outdoor screening at Sylvester Manor, September 9th. I've been working on trying to do a Chequet happy hour. It's been proven very difficult to nail them down. Another Mashamik Oyster Reef talk, and then working with doing a pre-K program where we can come in with to actually just ran into Lynn Green earlier in the summer, and she's like, it's such a bummer, these little ones, they don't get to do as cool stuff as like the older kids, because we can't really take them off campus. So I was gonna work with her to get a touch tank or something like that for the little kids. And then also working with Bethany Ortman on creating an after-school series for the fall. Get kids like out on the water, seeding clams and weaving eelgrass and stuff like that. So kind of more pictures in the next slides. So that's to the left, that's a bunch of volunteers, our first set tank breakdown day, taking all the bags of spout and shell out. It was a really great turnout. Have some people counting and measuring and data collection, and then just seeding, pouring it out off the reef. Next slide. It was nice seeing people of all ages coming. And so that's the setup as requested. I have the sign on the set tank itself rather than on a post. I have pictures of me doing the oyster talk and touch tank at the CSA pickup and stuff. That's it. Any questions?
Kate, do we need signage over by the oyster reef?
That's what I kind of had a question, that perhaps it might be nice just to be like, hey, this is what this means. Like, please don't
Pick the oysters.
yeah, like please don't enhance, but don't crush them. Yeah, don't drag your anchor across there, that kind of thing. Yeah, so maybe that'll be a good winter project, I guess, to work with you guys developing something. Yeah.
Any idea what the mortality rate was with the oysters from last year?
From that first survey I did, that was the problem, is that I didn't really have the methodology set where it's or the help, honestly, to do proper counts beforehand. That being said, I did realize all right, well, I have at least some numbers from working with Jimbo Theinert's class. I'll need to go back and really kind of try to work those. So maybe I'll be able to have something for you.
What's your gut feeling? Was it, a little bit half? Something like that?
I mean,
Wasn't that many last year.
yeah.
That many.
Right, it wasn't that many. I don't know. I'm bad at this. I don't want to say something that I'm not certain about. I'll try to have some more solid numbers for the next time I'm here.
Any questions?
That's great. Thank you for the update.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Kate.
Thanks. It was really disheartening, but get there. But yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is we close the hearing on the moratorium exemption application, but Amber wasn't able to be here last week, so she asked us to hold off any discussion till today so we can discuss in the work session the application to exempt One Pandium from the moratorium.
I'm gonna recuse myself because they reached out to Shelter Island Sand and Gravel to do the septic system on the property, so Christina can just text me. I just logged out of the meeting, so she can text me. I'll be upstairs.
Okay. Okay, Stephen, anything you want to start us off with on this?
Well, as you're aware, this is an existing structure. The applicant stated that he wanted the square footage to remain in the basement. Due to the water level, they couldn't have the that they wanted. So they already had the footprint of the building approved. So he wants to convert what would have been a garage into finished living space. And that's what's
Not a
kicking.
garage, sorry. It was a barn. It's an attached garage.
Barn.
It's called a barn in the plans, and it's also right next to the pool. A barn pool house.
Okay, barn pool house. So they want to convert the barn pool house into living space.
Yeah. And he's not here?
What, is, the hearing's
No, but it's
closed.
Oh, the hearing's closed, that's right.
Yes, it's just our discussion.
I-
I do not think that we should, exception, that we should stick to, we have a moratorium. We're not looking at anything. If we open up the door for this one, I'm sure there'll be others who will come up with reasons for having an exception. This is part of like why we are having the moratorium is he already has the unconditioned space, which would have put him over the way our legislation is written. It's only conditioned space greater than 6,000 square feet.
Right.
And then we had the problem with the house in Ram Island where they had over 6,000 square feet, so they didn't need a special permit. And then somewhere along the line, somebody conditioned the space. And then when it changed hands, they came before us. So I want the moratorium to be changed so that we take into account all space. Same thing with the Serpentine application. You know, if you look at conditioned space, it's some large number, and if you look at unconditioned added in, it's some even huger number.
Right.
So I'd like to get our moratorium, like keep it in place, finish what we need to do on the work there, and then proceed.
I was originally disposed to granting an exemption because I feel the structure's there. However, I did pull the file at the building department to just see. And I find it stunning that there was constructed a 1,200 square foot barn. When you say barn, to me, I'm thinking garage. I'm thinking that's where the tractor's going to go to mow the 3 acres, the pool equipment, whatever. No, it is at the pool. It's at the pool, and it says there's a real estate ad out there for this house. It says spa space, spa building, spa barn, I think something like that. It also has a shower in the original plan that it was supposed to be unconditioned. And it leads to the septic. So it's not on the plan that there's a bathroom, but an outdoor shower doesn't have to go to a septic. It can go to a dry well. So my feeling is, without impugning anybody's integrity, that this might have been intended to be finished somewhere down the line. Maybe not by this person. Maybe this house is being developed for, sale. But it just does kind of, it pushes the limits of credulity that this was meant to be just a big old empty structure. Function. Function? There we go, with no function. So that added to what you've just said, if even, there's a partial chance this inkling could be true, this is exactly the reason we have a moratorium right now. So I am not now inclined,
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of been moving in that same direction. I mean, going into this a couple of weeks ago, I was more in favor of supporting it because the structure was already there. But I am very, very concerned about the precedent that it's going to set for other applications that we have and that will be forthcoming maybe before the moratorium is, all figured out. The other thing is, I'm looking at an email from Matt Sherman back, dated June 21st, which is only, a couple months ago. This property has 8 full bathrooms, 2 half baths. Family room has 1, the basement, when the basement is out, had a full bath, but that's out. Always wondered why, when the bathroom was out, a couple things that bother me about that. Number one is, why didn't they test the ground well enough beforehand to determine the height of the basement, where they could have a basement, where the house had to be raised a couple of feet in order to accommodate a basement, to keep the structure all within that footprint as originally planned at, 730 square feet, something along those lines, 700 and change, as opposed to, going to this new structure, which is considerably larger than what was proposed in the basement. The first floor has 2.5 baths. The second floor has 7 bedrooms and 6 full baths. The pool house has a full bath. So, and I know it's a large property. I know the property is, 3 1/3 acres or something of that nature. But when you're looking at possible, with the pool house and everything else, of possibly 10,868 square feet, that's well over, what we're allowing. So, I just think that, I'd be more in favor of not agreeing to this now. They want to fish it out later. It's even odd that the person that's building the house now is a possibility of selling the house, there's just too many unknowns here. I don't know if everybody was straightforward, with us from the get-go. And there's a lot of game playing that goes on in these large projects. And I think the game playing is something that we've, as a town board, have had our fill of. That I'd rather have a straight application that they stick with, and honor, as opposed to making amendments all the way through and asking for, the only saving grace that the structures are all outside that 100-foot, that's great. There's no need for a special
Wetlands,
permit or
right.
wetlands permit or anything like that, but it is a large enough structure with a lot of bathrooms and an existing building, so.
Yeah, I think as Amber prefaced when she started, that this is the exact reason we're having the moratorium, to address these issues. And I just want to make it clear, we're not denying this permit, we're denying opening up the process again. And when we asked the question, what's the hardship was, well, it's going to cost more money to have the contractors come back if he gets the permit to finish it. And to me, that's not a good enough reason to grant this.
Yeah, the moratorium, he has to show unnecessary hardship. And that's been defined in some cases as extraordinary hardship. And, you have to show that there was no adverse impact on the health, safety, welfare of the surrounding community, that it does not substantially undermine the large home regulation that's under review, that the alleged hardship related to the property in question is unique and does not apply to a substantial portion of the district or neighborhood, that the requested use variance, the requested variance in the moratorium, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood, and the alleged hardship was not self-created. So these are things that the town board would have to take into account, among other things. So if you don't feel that he has met that criteria, then you can, deny the request for the variance.
Right.
And the only other thing I would say too is there's 1 of 5 lots, building lots. So this is the first one that is the furthest along. And if we say yes here, you don't have to look beyond the properties there. You better believe that in property 2, 3, 4, and 5, similar requests may be made.
Well, we're not ruling on the permit, we're just ruling on the moratorium.
I get that. I'm just saying it does set that precedent for the rest of the building on that entire area.
And in another good reason not to act on this and to follow through with the moratorium. Because we had our subcommittee met yesterday, and Reed Karen is here, our building inspector, brought up the fact that that's a C-zone area, and the setbacks are 10 feet.
Side yard.
So in essence, they could have, very big houses right next to each other the whole length of the, property there. So I think it's important that we continue the subcommittee with, guidelines that we're going to propose to the town board, but we hold our line on, not going forward. Reed, did you want to speak to this? We're talking about one Pandian. The consensus is that he's not applying for the permit, he's applying to be heard.
I don't think so.
You don't need Reed's,
The hearing's closed and
okay.
And
it's
he's not
inappropriate to
here,
have
just
them.
Our discussion.
Mr. King, but
Yeah, okay.
You could stick around for what happened later on the.
yeah,
But just to advise the board, as Jerry said, we met yesterday for about an hour going over preliminary issues with amending the code or a proposed amendment to the code. We're looking at potentially in conjunction with that, a pyramid provision to ensure that a house is appropriate mass-wise for the lot and height and bulk. So that would be coupled with a potential sliding scale based on lot size with a maximum cap on. And I think we're talking about like 10% of the lot size, but we're also discussing, for substandard lots, what that would mean. So we're doing the research and we're gonna meet a couple more times probably, and then we'll have something to present to the board.
Okay, anything else on this one? No.
So we can draft a resolution to deny.
Yes.
Is that possible for tonight's meeting, or it'll be in 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
Okay.
And thank you for delaying the discussion for me. When we closed the public hearing, it seemed like more people were in favor of allowing the exception, so.
Right.
Well, giving me a chance to convince you otherwise.
Actually, we could probably get it on if you want.
yeah, the hearing's closed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's whether or not Amber wants
So
to
if we
add
can do
another
it, we'll do it
resolution.
tonight, if not.
If not, all right,
Okay.
see what we can do.
Okay,
Yeah, there's probably
that's
no-
it on the actual agenda. We'll go around the table. I'll start. I started a conversation with the chief and Brian Sherman, and we're gonna bring Joe Fenora into it about the pavilion down at Crescent Beach. And after the accident, reviewing what we can do down there and, possibly moving it, and possibly, reinforcing it better. So the chief asked that we do some kind of traffic, Joe does a traffic study to see what the curve radius is, where, the danger zone is. So we're gonna work on that, and we'll have a presentation to make, because we have to do something. I mean, it's just incredible that, the damage that,
We were lucky.
yeah, the lucky's not the word, we were blessed. It was just incredible that, half an hour before, there were 50 kids there, 50 people there.
Well, I'm thinking of even large trucks loaded with concrete, something,
Yeah.
brake failure, can't negotiate the turn. I mean, you can end up putting up a railing or something that a large cement truck would go right through. Fence or something like that, as he was boogieing.
Yeah.
But I'm much more concerned about large construction vehicles coming down the hill and experiencing a brake failure and not being able to negotiate the turn. That to me would be something.
And I think that's why the chief really wanted some sort of study done to make sure we're not just saying, okay, let's put it here.
Yeah.
Let's be a little more definitive.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I had. Meg? I know you had a busy week.
Yeah, so.
Comp plan. On Thursday, we had our virtual meeting. We had maximum like 88 people attended. We went into breakout groups, it was like 85 people. We had a very good meeting. I think we got a lot of good feedback. We had some recommendations that came out of that meeting that will probably add to the plan. The goal is to get as much feedback as possible so that when we come out with the draft, it is a pretty complete document and it reflects what we've been hearing from the public. We wanted to make sure that we're on the right track and we're touching on things that matter to people. So that's why we've been meeting with HOAs and we've been having these public work sessions. Then on Saturday, we were at the Green Expo. A huge thank you and congratulations to Tim Pertell for running a great kind of fair. We had a lot of the town committees involved. We had Mashamik was there, but it was a great opportunity for people of the community to come and speak to the different committees and see what they're working on. So we had pretty much all the committees, WAC, CAC, the comp plan was there, Taylor's Island was there. It really was like
That's great.
all the committees that are currently working hard in our community. And so it was a great opportunity for people to talk to them and just get some more information. And then yesterday, BJ and I met with the Shelter Island Heights Property Owners Corporation. That was the most recent HOA we met with. And then we had another CPAC meeting last night. We have a library talk on Thursday at 5:00. And it's going to be about water in the comprehensive plan. So it's all about the different action items revolving around water in particular. So it's going to be kind of specific on that. And then following that, there's the vigil, but I'll let Jim talk to that. On Saturday, there's the barbecue cook-off at the Legion to support the Legion. So,
5 PM.
yep, always fun.
Tickets available at the door.
Yep, $45 per ticket, $55 if you want to stay for the after party, which is great.
Yes. And then just a note, I've had a lot of people complaining about speeding on the island in general. So please be aware of the speed limits in the areas in which you're driving. If you're in neighborhoods, be aware that there are little kids on bicycles and that these are people's front yards and homes, because it's been an issue in some areas of the island. So just beware and prudent of your speed. And that is what I have right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jim?
Just when you said that about the kids in the neighborhood on bikes, with the little kids and the parents, usually on the outside of them, there's basically no lane, so you kind of cross the double yellow line. Person coming in the opposite direction, can we have a concept of what's going on the road? I mean, in other words, either slow down or you slow down, don't cross, wait for that car to move. But sometimes you get close, but that person comes right to the double yellow line. I don't get it. People are not really attentive. You have to be, especially during the summer season, when there are a lot of bicycles on the road, just from a safety point of view. I do want to point out that the barbecue, the bathroom's almost finished over there. We're working feverishly to finish up the bathroom at the bottom of the Legion. That after party, by the way, will feature live music between 8 and 10 p.m. Inside the Legion. That'll be a cash bar inside there. As I've said last week, we have 9 different teams assembled to compete against one another. So it should be a fun thing. Last year, we had about 300 participants. We feel that we can handle about 350 people this year. So try to get there early, or get your tickets beforehand. That's important. I would like to talk a little bit about the comprehensive plan from last Thursday night. I made some notes to myself. Thought it was a wonderful turnout with a lot of people, both, with all kinds of views. I kind of think that both Noah and Susan on that team, on the BFJ planning team, on a scale of 1 to 10, I have to give you a 10. Both of these people were tremendous, I thought. I thought they did a great job handling the conversation, accepting the criticism, being very respectful, acknowledging the worth of the recommendations made by the subcommittees, the breakout sessions. I thought the breakout sessions were the highlight for me. It was very productive. I thought there were a lot of good recommendations on a wide variety of topics. One of those topics happened to be road safety, by the way. A lot of people very concerned. And I think, for the next administration, we could do, a lot more with road safety, especially talking to the state about 114 and, widening it there and putting in a bike path there. And it's our hope that the town and the Heights will be able to take care of New York Avenue come the spring. We wanted to do it in the fall, but there was a wetlands permit that needed to be gotten by the Heights, and the surveys needed to be done, and that wasn't done. And, it will be done in time to have this done for the spring. So hopefully that will be an issue where we can get both pedestrians, and my hope would be bicycles off New York Avenue totally. To me, that's a very dangerous road. One of the things that came up at the thing is the need for cast. And of course, we went to the party last week. That was there too. So, I don't have the statistics handy. If anybody has the statistics that they read from the poolside about the number of meals and the need on Shelter Island, it was startling. If I had a pen and a pad with me, I would have jotted those things down very, very quickly. But there is obviously quite a few families on Shelter Island that are struggling with food security and basic needs. And of course, there was overwhelming support during the discussion for both water and septic issues. I thought it was very good. Love the polling questions, by the way. I think the other highlight I thought from that night was getting instant feedback on being able to vote on something and within 30 seconds turning around and seeing how the rest of the people. And it's one thing when you're in a group of 10, but when you're in a group of 50, 60 people and you get the kind of instant feedback, I thought that was great, great planning. And I applaud them for that. A lot of great work there. The Vigil for Hope. It's Thursday. It's an International Opioid Awareness Day. Thursday down at the basketball courts, 7 p.m. start. It's put on by the Health and Wellness Group along with the library. And I'm going to do a quick welcome. And then Brett Serreras is going to talk about loss. And as most of you realize, he did lose a brother. There's going to be a prayer and moment of silence from Pastor Atkinson. There'll be a talk about Road to Recovery by Claire Bave. There'll be community connection from training from Hugs Incorporated by Jacqueline Carnevogel. There's a Hope for Our Kids by Kathy Lynch, who's now the president of the school board. She's a therapist, and she's going to talk about directly bring her comments with children. There'll be some nice music provided by Julia King, who provided music last year, which was superb. And then the night will end with Gina Kraus, who's a parent. We'll talk about Always Forward, and that's really kind of her theme. This is a vigil for hope, and it is our hope that we get a great turnout, a commitment from this community that these are not just annual events that we just go through the motions. I want to see positive results come out of this. That's police, educators, school, the town board, all the mental health, local physicians. We need to get together and we need to put an end, not just to the crisis here on Shelter Island, but this is a worldwide epidemic that is taking the lives of thousands and thousands and thousands of young people and people of all ages for that matter. I'd like to thank, Becky Smith, who always helps with the florist, and White Oak in Gardens, which they do a great job. The Lions Club, which helps out. Kelly Serreras, Jackie Carnevogel herself from Hugs, and Shelter Island school students that are going to be there, and the sound that's going to be provided. We had a great sound system provided by Steve Mastro last year, and that'll work, well again this year. We did get a letter from the Monadnock Peninsula Association about water salt intrusion, that they're reaching out, and obviously at their annual meeting this year, there are a number of homes now identified with severe salt intrusion. They feel as if the town has somewhat of a role here. I've always felt from Silver Beach, I've said it before I got on the town board 12 years ago when I became president of Silver Beach Association, that to just let individual homeowners or homeowners associations solve this problem, it's not going to happen. There needs to be a more coordinated effort. We do have the resources. We have a town engineer, we have an attorney, we have the people that know people from Suffolk County Water. It's a large project. They talk about grant applications and things like that. But what would it cost? And there are a lot of moving pieces here. But maybe for the next administration, that we can talk about, a great time to tackle this might be, early winter or early spring. Get all the communities that are involved with salt intrusion, bring them here, have them represented, and look at possibilities of what we can do as a town to help these associations, guide them in the right direction in order to look at these salt intrusion problems. Now, along with maybe Suffolk County Water as a possibility. So it's just something to throw out there. I think they wanted some type of feedback from us. This is not a problem that has occurred overnight, but it's a problem. It's a growing problem, a growing concern. And with sea rise and the pressure of salt water on the freshwater, it's just only going to get worse rather than better. So it's not going away. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Amber?
The website committee met last week, and we are focused on getting the new website up and running. We've had a preliminary meeting with the company that's helping us design it. Note for department heads and committee chairs, please look at your website pages and get them cleaned up, because that's what's going to get initially ported over to the new website. So we want it to be as clean and up to date as possible so that we're not bringing garbage from one website over to another. And it's really, we've started to look at what the interface, what it's going to look like. Will we choose something that looks very similar to our existing website, or will we have something that has like a little bit of a different feel to it? Bearing in mind that it's really the backside that you don't see, which is where the cleanup and the value is going to come in, making it easier for our staff to manage, as well as have the notifications that people are asking for, have that built in, and then also the ability to put more information out there so we can have fewer FOIL requests and just more information for the public.
Any timeframe?
Hopefully by the end of the year.
Yeah, we just get a timeline, to confirm it should be launched early February.
Okay, good. Yeah, so that happened since last week. And then the other thing is the planning board met, they're reviewing some wetlands applications. I think we, all should, since we've transferred it to them, pay close attention to make sure we're happy with the way things are going there. We also need to, we said we're going to circle back on tightening up some different pieces of the wetlands code. So I think we've got a lot on our plates with moratorium and irrigation committee trying to get up and running. So, but we need to stay on that because it's really important.
Yeah,
And
those
I'm nervous
are the
about
ones I
some of
would like
these.
to stay on to the end of the year, right? Get
Yeah.
them done.
I'm nervous about, because there's some big asks out there, and I don't have a sense right now where the planning board is going with it.
Yeah.
And they're their own board and they get to make the decisions, but we just have to keep an eye on it. So that's all that I have.
Keep on it till the end of the year, Jim? Some people would disagree with you. We were
Well,
told last night,
Lame duck.
should just sit back and be the lame ducks that we are.
Amen. There you go.
No, I do want to address last night's meeting, the CPAC meeting. I believe the town might encounter in the future difficulty hiring consultants or experts in any area if we continue to speak to them the way we spoke to them last night. Now, BFJ is great. They don't get emotional, but the tone and the accusations, veiled or not, they're still readable. It just has to stop. Who's going to come to work at Shelter Island if you know that this is the hassle you're going to be facing? And apparently there's a lot of business out there. It's not like they're groveling. So I just would kind of say this publicly, hopefully in a bigger audience than came to CPAC last night. Let's watch the tone. Let's watch the redundancy and hammering. We've heard it once. Now we've heard it a dozen times. We've heard it. And so it's the consultants. I think everybody knows the topics that I'm referring to. Yeah, I think that's it. Just let's dial it back a little bit and stop impugning people's integrities. We live here. And we don't want to ruin the island and nor our property values. Just saying. That's it. I'm off my soapbox.
It's not a soap opera. So obviously just hearing some of the feedback from last night, I 1000% agree with you. They don't deserve it. The meeting that I attended last week, I thought they were so professional. And I thought everybody.
Oh, last week was terrific.
Were very good, very respectful of one another. I love the suggestions. I love the response that we got from the team. But this idea of, what our role should be for the next, it's 4 months. It's not 4 days. It's not 4 weeks. I mean, get paid a salary. It may not be a lot, but I take great pride in the fact that you work to the bitter end. You don't quit. You run across the finish line. And that's what we're trying to do. We're not obsessed. And by the way, I'm going to speak for myself, not obsessed with getting the comprehensive plan done by December 31st. I sure the hell want to put our best effort to keep moving in the right direction. And if we get it done before the end of the year, great. If we don't, we're almost there. But stop with this stupid term lame duck, because I'm going to lose my patience with somebody. They say it one more friggin' time. I'm no way a lame duck individual. And this board is committed to try to do the right thing. Again, I just think being respectful, staying together, having decent dialogue. I thought the points that they made up last Thursday were wonderful. This idea of having what did you want to hire a town person to plan it?
Facilities master plan?
The community planner idea is something that I've stirred around in my mind saying, you know what? I don't know if anybody has the expertise here to really be able to envision that. But if you were going to create a new position for this town, because every town really has one, big towns have a whole department that are dedicated for this very purpose. But somebody in this town that really has that ability to be able to work in that direction, I think it's something that I would, look to seriously entertain. And this whole idea, and the last thing I'll say is this conspiracy stuff about, what we're trying to do and working behind. You couldn't be further from the damn truth. And if you want to discuss it further with me, great. But you are so out of bounds. And I don't care if you're putting this crap online or you're saying it at meetings. You're absolutely misguided. End of story. Thank you.
I just wanted to add a few things. So last night, Noah, who's our consultant for the comprehensive plan, said he's going to try to have chapters out as soon as possible. So they'll all be out by September 15th at the latest, but hopefully some of them will come out sooner. So there are some that they've had more time to work on that are more complete. So as they are finished, we will be posting them online. So we'll send out a little social media post saying, hey, chapters 1 through 3, just for example, I don't know what chapters are coming out first, but we'll say, hey, chapters 1 through 3 are online, go have a read. That way people have a chance to kind of get through the whole document before the September 23rd open house. And that'll be all day open at the community center above the Legion. And it'll start at around 11 because we can't get in there until 10:30 after all the workout classes. So just in preparation for the September 23rd, we're going to be trying to release all the drafts of all the chapters. And you'll definitely have all of them by September 15th. So just to reiterate that for everybody.
Anybody know how many people on Thursday night are going to the 5 o'clock WAC meeting approximately? Did anybody have a estimate of, is it 10 people, 20 people, 30
Maybe
people?
30.
Maybe 30 people, as many as 30?
They've had that many and they've
Okay.
had less.
And if less,
Yeah.
you think a good turnout would be 30?
A good would-
Just trying to
That's
figure
not the
out.
room maximum. Even the maximum?
No, because they can kind of push back.
Oh, they
You can push back a little
Yeah,
bit,
they-
Yeah.
because I'm trying to figure out the chair situation for sharing the chairs, okay.
I thought someone told me they were getting the chairs from the school for,
We are, we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
So I know they're opening up school, they're running around.
right. Oh,
Okay.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think there were like 25 people or so at the last one.
okay, all right.
But I think we're trying to do a better job of publicizing it because it wasn't evident on our
Right.
website and it
Okay.
wasn't evident on the library's website. So,
Okay.
For the last water meeting?
yeah, so we're trying to get it out there in advance to a wider audience.
Stephen?
Board of Ethics, we met last week, and I must say, these people are great. You know, they're really knowledgeable, they're taking their job seriously, and, you know, it's a breath of fresh air for this town to have that group. Like, it's really nice. They are requesting that we make an amendment to the ethics code, and it's specifically dealing with moonlighting. They don't want to be hamstrung by the specific aspects of moonlighting that would be the cause of a conflict. So in section 8-9 of the ethics code, again, it talks about, when I say moonlighting, having another job in addition to a town job. And it lists 3 reasons that would trigger a conflict. They just want to add including but not limited to those 3 situations. So give them more discretion as to, because you can't think about all the potential conflicts that are out there. So that's a minor change that they want to do. So that was discussed. And then I just want to give kudos to Meg. She did a master class in recusal. So we should we should make a little snippet of this video and send it around. You know, Amber's been good as well. But, you know, so pursuant to section 8-5 and 8-6, you have to disclose on the record your conflict. You have to recuse yourself and you have to leave the room. And I know there's a learning curve, but another requirement on top of that is to put a writing into both the Board of Ethics and the town board. So whether, I guess the town clerk should have a file on, you know, recusals from the town board members and just keep a file on that, again, for the historical record. But you also have to send, so even if you just send an email to the town clerk, they can print it out, put it in, or hopefully, God willing, we'll have an electronic repository one day. But yeah, put it into the file and then also CC the Board of Ethics. All right, but that, again, our committees and boards should, you know, mirror themselves over Amber and Meg on how they're doing it.
Good, thank you. Amber, anything for tonight? Good. Christine, anything? Okay, anybody in the audience?
Hi, I'm Sandra O'Connor. Just only because you were talking about how many people knew about the water committee meeting on Thursday and that you would be the presenters. One of the things that came out of my breakout group Thursday was that one particular person who knew me said, "How did I know about the public forum?" And I said, "Well, I'm on social media and way too much time." That's how I heard about it, and I couldn't remember how long ago I'd heard about it. I mean,
Right.
I think I knew it at least 2 weeks ago. So I'm wondering, and then sort of going along with that, I live where we don't have a neighborhood association. I wish we did. We desperately need one, and it's a huge part of this island. It's West Neck. Think about it. It's West Neck Road all the way from 114 all the way to Silver Beach. It's Menantic, probably on the west side. It's huge, but you know, it's at this point, I don't know how you get to those people, but I'm just wondering what for the people who aren't on social media, what are the other ways? I mean, sadly, a lot of people don't read the Reporter anymore.
Right.
Or Julia Brennan's Gazette, maybe. Anyway, I just raised that that's,
I agree, but if you want, there has to be some outreach on the part of the person who wants to be involved.
well, no, I agree.
You know,
And-
there's
and
only,
yes.
we are going to do a mailing about the September meeting, but that's expensive, and to the taxpayer that is paying attention, somewhat unfair. But, you
Also
know,
on the website.
it's on the website,
Well, yes.
and not everybody's savvy, so we do,
Yeah,
you
well,
know,
And I did put out some flyers. So there were flyers at the library, there were flyers at a few other
Right.
places. So, I mean, we really try to reach out in as many ways as we can. But aside from knocking on everyone's door and
Oh,
saying, hey, by the
it's-
way, it's really hard to reach everybody. But it was, it was on social media, it was on the town website, it's announced at all these meetings, it's on Channel 22, it was an ad in the paper, it was, flyers in different stores and
Yeah.
restaurants in the library. And then I also sent out a mass email to all the HOAs and all of the Lions Club got one, the churches got one, so we tried to send it to
yeah.
everybody.
Oh, I'm not,
we could
I'm just,
contact,
it's, and it
but
isn't just the
it's-
comp plan, it's just
it's
other
everything,
things that are
yeah.
going on here, like the vigil, like the committee meetings that are, the ones that are under the tent at the library.
Right, yeah,
But to some extent.
it's a challenge.
It is a challenge.
Yeah, but BJ, weren't you talking about like email notification or something?
that's coming with the,
That's the new website.
so that's not till February, but it's a big reason that they're even doing the upgrade is to be able to incorporate this notify feature.
Oh.
And, one of our concerns is, as soon as you add that, then you add another clerical task to somebody's plate. That being said, so the basic thing that we could do, and will do, I hope, is an agenda. You could request, I would like to see all the town board meeting agendas. And so that's not that difficult. That's already an established document. And somehow it'll be easy to send it out to whoever signed up for it. But you could also sign up for WMAC. You'd like to know what the agendas are and all the committees.
that
So
would be-
that'll be a big step. Now we just,
We even
say
went out,
this nicely?
purchased, you mentioned the vigil, we went out and purchased signs.
Yeah, and you'd have to be homebound not to have seen all the signs by now, so. But yeah, that's good.
And absolutely, and the reason, we can use those signs for the next decade. They don't have it's always August 31st, regardless
Right.
of whether it's Monday through Sunday, it's always on the same day. We're gonna always be at the same location. So we made a sign up that would be able to use, since we're gonna spend $450 plus, somewhere around that for those signs. And unfortunately, 3 of them were commandeered the first night that we had them out. And I don't know why somebody would commandeer the signs, but we are very conscious of trying to get the word out to people. And when I go around the table, I've been mentioning at the vigil now for, the better part of 3 weeks, the barbecue for 2 weeks. We do try as much as possible when there's a special event, to Green Art Expo, that kind of stuff, get the word out as we go around the table, just so people, watch Channel 22. A lot of people do watch Channel 22. So maybe those upcoming events, where they could be put on Channel 22 or at the beginning or the end of each segment, what's coming up for the next couple of weeks, something of that nature. Maybe we can look into that. I know they do that, but I don't know if we get every event. We try.
And we use the police sign too,
Yeah.
the informational
yes,
sign,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Anybody in the Zoom audience? Okay, if there's no more comments, I'm going to make a motion. We go into executive session to talk about contract negotiations.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.